One of the most frightening episodes about a donkey was caught on camera. A desert fox darted past the hoofed animal. The donkey didn't ignore the small predator and swiftly caught it. The fox struggled in the aggressive donkey's teeth, but the hoofed animal didn't loosen its grip. The donkey shook its head sharply, crushing the fox's bones with its jaws. Then the donkey dropped the opponent's body and began to beat it with its front hooves. Didn't expect such aggression from a donkey? We'll show you today other impressive cases that prove that these hoofed animals are tougher than they seem. Two rather large and audacious dogs decided to attack a donkey. The dogs probably didn't want to eat the hoofed animal, more likely just intimidate it. But they picked the wrong opponent. The donkey easily repelled the first attack and launched into an aggressive counterattack. It began to chase its tormentors. The donkey caught one of the dogs in mid-run by the hind leg, effortlessly lifted it into the air, and rammed it. The donkey's bite, thanks to its flat and blunt teeth, didn't damage the dog's skin, but the strength of the jaws is terrifying. Therefore, the unforgettable pain experienced by the aggressor should teach them not to mess with certain animals. Such self-defense skills deserves your like, doesn't it? Perhaps the most famous feat of a donkey is the numerous cases of these hoofed animals taking on hyenas one-on-one. Indeed, there have been many documented cases of donkeys standing up to these fearsome predators. Hyenas are aggressive, cruel, and pragmatic in hunting. Their main weapon is their jaws, powerful enough to crush bones, break enemies' legs, and tear off whole chunks of flesh. Pretty scary, isn't it? Hyenas use two main tactics. They either pounce on their opponent, striking with the mass of their body while simultaneously using their fangs, or they deliver quick bites and immediately retreat, relying on the gradual exhaustion of their prey, the pain from wounds, and the panic induced by these attacks. Manage to sever the throat? Great! But if not, a hyena may attack the hind legs of the hoofed animal, attempt to eviscerate its belly while staying away from the enemy's horns, hoofs, or teeth. Well, against different tactics, the donkey acts equally cool, swiftly, and very effectively. The hoofed beast simply grabs the hyena by the scruff, the rear part of the skull, or the neck with its teeth, and that's it. The enemy is neutralized. The hyena can no longer bite, as it cannot twist and reach its targets with its fangs. And although the hyena is a fairly large predator and may be bulkier than a leopard, the donkey couldn't care less. It clearly doesn't exert any effort to restrain the predator. The hyena is unable to offer any resistance. The donkey's bite is so powerful that it simply immobilizes the opponent and renders it in pain. Besides the sheer jaw strength, the bite location also plays an important role. Predators carry their offspring by the scruff for a reason. A secure grip in this area practically neutralizes the victim's resistance. And unlike a hyena mother, the donkey isn't going to be cautious. The herbivorous animal bites very strongly in this area, clamping down with its teeth and literally tearing the skin from the muscles. The hyena approaches the donkey for an attack, and suddenly, the hoofed animal grabs the opponent with its teeth, jerking to break the neck vertebrae and tear off the skin. And this isn't a unique case. Anybody can get some from a donkey, like a poor goat or wild animals that fall victim to the furious attack of the ear-wielding hoofed berserker. In fast-forward mode, you can see how powerful and amplitude the movements of the hoofed animal are as it holds the enemy in its jaws. Moreover, while the hyena can't break free from the donkey's grip, here it's the other way around. The hoofed animal jumps, shakes, and tosses the hyena around like a nuisance toy. Thus, the donkey inflicts additional damage to the enemy. First and foremost, the hyena feels excruciating pain as the donkey's teeth grind against the nerve endings under the skin. But besides that, the herbivore also damages muscles and may sever blood vessels or even break the enemy's neck. All of this without penetrating the skin. There are no visible wounds, but the damage is critical. No wonder a donkey's bite can be fatal to a hyena in many cases. The predator cannot influence the behavior of the hoofed animal in any way. The donkey decides when to release the hyena and whether to do so at all. Only in rare cases, if biting the enemy is inconvenient, will the donkey kick and beat the opponent with its hooves. Of course, such bravery of the herbivorous animal is admirable, but experienced researchers and nature enthusiasts may doubt the effectiveness of the donkey's tactics. After all, hyenas more often attack in packs. These brutal beatings by the donkey work well in one-on-one standoff, but what will happen if a pack of predators catches a donkey? Well, we have an answer to that. One case was captured on camera, and the outcome remained unchanged. The donkey was grazing on grass at night. Unable to sleep, it decided to do what many of us love: have a midnight snack. Suddenly, a group of hyenas emerged from the darkness, intending to surround the hoofed animal. They had no idea who they were dealing with. At first, the donkey didn't perceive the predators as a threat at all, ignoring them. But when the hyenas approached, the enraged hoofed animal immediately launched an attack, sending the cruel but not very brave predators fleeing. Impressive, isn't it? It turns out the donkey can stand not only against a lone attacker, but also against a whole pack of hyenas. Despite their modest size and genuinely friendly attitude towards humans, donkeys can turn into true berserkers and fight any opponent to a fatal end. In this instance, the donkey was furious simply because a piglet got tangled under its feet with its litter. The hoofed animal immediately seized the opponent by the scruff and pounced on it, driving it into the ground with its entire body. Although the pig's neck rarely fits in the donkey's mouth, the bite's force combined with that blow was enough to break the pig's neck. Donkeys are rather patient animals who rarely provoke fights, especially with their farm neighbors. But when this brazen dog prevented the hoofed animal, the donkey doesn't make sudden movements, shows a peaceful character, and simply Maternal instinct is inherent in many animal species. A donkey with its tough character will be even more aggressive in defending its offspring. Here, the female stands up to its neighbor in the enclosure. Do notice her determination. She immediately shuts down even the slightest aggression towards her baby. If faced with an attack on herself, a donkey may show patience or attempt to flee, but the response to aggression towards the offspring is swift, categorical, and lightning fast. The donkey kicks, accurately landing a blow to the opponent's face, tosses it aside, threatens, and drives it away. Her little one doesn't even need to be close to her to feel completely safe. He can romp around the enclosure and play, relying on the fact that mom is constantly watching over him. As soon as the slightest danger threatens her offspring, she immediately rushes to his aid across the entire space of the pen to beat up any enemy. Pretty cool, isn't it? Although wolves prefer to attack prey in a pack, even a lone predator poses a threat to large hoofed animals. However, bringing down a donkey turned out to be much more challenging than this hunter thought. He lunged at the opponent and immediately sank his fangs into its front leg. The donkey jerked and managed to free itself. But that was just the beginning. The wolf continued to attack the donkey's throat for a long time. Notice the predator's body position. It intentionally enters the donkey's blind spot under his head. At the same time, the wolf tries to push the prey, throwing it off balance. The predator believes in success because the herbivore's leg is injured and its fangs are constantly searching for major blood vessels into the trachea. But the donkey turns out to be much tougher than the wolf assumes. The donkey isn't going to be submissive prey and delivers a powerful kick towards the opponent. It's a complete strike, as the donkey had to twist its leg at an unnatural angle. Moreover, it was challenging for him to maintain balance, but the blow turned out to be so powerful that it threw the wolf aside. He probably broke a couple of ribs. The predator's endurance began to wane. He kept lunging at the donkey's throat, but couldn't damage either the trachea or the arteries of the muscular neck of the animal. The carnivorous hunter backed off. The donkey will limp for a while, but his endurance helped him escape this dangerous situation. Even without the ability to run or maneuver, he gave a powerful resistance to the large predator. Obviously, donkeys can react very aggressively to any threat. They are brave and capable of acting extremely cruelly. But at the same time, they sometimes show an amazing tendency to protect other living beings, as if they were ear-shaped superheroes. Moreover, they take under the care not only representatives of their own species or even other hoofed animals, but completely dissimilar creatures as well. For example, a surveillance camera on one farmstead captured a unique case. An eagle attacked a chicken. The feathered predator used its favorite tactic. It attacked from the sky, swooped down on its prey, and struck a terrible blow with its clawed feet. The chicken was large enough to survive the initial attack, and the eagle, while on the ground, decided to finish it with a powerful blow of its sharp, curved beak. At that moment, the donkey appeared. Notice his tactic. The eagle took a defensive stance, which it most often uses when attacked on the ground. The bird spreads its wings to appear larger, then intended its clawed feet towards the opponent. The eagle didn't know who it was dealing with. The donkey wasn't frightened, but started to behave cautiously. He turned his back to the eagle and began to walk forward and to kick and trample the opponent. The donkey's wide field of view allowed him to monitor the eagle's movements, but as the opponent approached, it entered the donkey's blind spot. By touch, the donkey felt that his hooves touched a living creature. The donkey mistook it for an enemy and began to trample the target. But it turned out to be a chicken. It's pretty embarrassing, isn't it? The donkey accidentally almost finished off the one he wanted to protect. When he realized his mistake, he became so angry at the eagle that he forgot about caution and turned to face the eagle. Then the donkey showed the opponent what he was capable of. He went on a ramming attack, started beating the bewildered predatory bird with powerful hooves, hitting it and stomping it into the ground. Hopefully, our hero didn't expend so much energy in vain, and the chicken survived. In any case, the eagle, shocked by such behavior, surely won't return to this farm anytime soon. People are accustomed to perceiving donkeys as very stubborn animals with a nasty character. Ignoring the strength of these hoofed animals and underestimating them is not wise. It's especially important not to show excessive harshness towards the animal. Not only for ethical reasons, but also for practical considerations, a donkey can potentially pose a serious danger to a person who mistreats it. However, this hoofed beast responds to friendship with no less devoted and honest companionship. Not long ago, one story became sensation in which a family talked about their heroic donkey. The hoofed animal saved its owner from stray dogs. The vast majority of hoofed animals in the donkey's place either would flee, abandoning the people, or engaged in a fight, but only to defend themselves. The donkey, on the other hand, acted purposefully in the interests of their owners, bravely throwing itself at all of the enemies, covering the people with its body, diverting the enraged large dog's attention to only itself. Such amazing loyalty in the donkey is combined with excellent combat skills. He not only protected his owners, but also showed remarkable strength and fierceness to his enemies. According to the donkey owner, the hoofed animal single-handedly scattered 5 aggressive stray dogs. The dogs didn't even get close to the people. The donkey rushed at the enemies, drove them into fleeing, threatening them with both hooves and teeth. Not even overwhelming numerical superiority made the defender falter. For the sake of his family, he performed a real feat. What do you think about this case? Maybe you also felt like having such a friend? Let us know your opinion in the comments underneath this video. There are several unusual, extreme, or simply touching cases caught on camera where donkeys helped people. For example, here, a donkey with its characteristic stubbornness pursues a woman to prevent her from approaching the fire and protect her from burns. Apparently, the donkey considers humans to be naive and ill-adapted creatures who need to be protected even from fire. Strange, but pretty cute, isn't it? There are not only purebred donkeys, but also hybrids with horses out there in the world. These species are genetically close enough to provide a viable offspring. However, such hybrids are almost always infertile themselves because these species have a different number of chromosomes. Horses have 64, while donkeys have 62. Therefore, hybrids will never form their own separate species. Interestingly, hybrids not only look, but also are called completely different depending on the gender of the parents. The offspring of a male donkey and a mare is called a mule. They resemble donkeys with long ears, short hair around the tail, and voice. But their overall body structure and dimensions are much closer to horses. Their mirror opposites are hinny. These hybrids are the offspring of female donkeys and stallions. They, on the contrary, are closer to the donkeys in body size and proportions, and their voice resembles that of a horse, as well as the size of their ears. Confusing a mule and a hinny is impossible, as these animals always maintain the described characteristics. Mules possess the high endurance of donkeys and the speed of horses, so they are much more common than hinnies, which are susceptible to some diseases. By the way, these are far from the only hybrids of different animal species. If you would like to learn more about other hybrids, let us know about this in the comments underneath this video. The character of mules differs little from that of donkeys. The same boldness, the same stubbornness, and strength of character. However, the dimensions, mass, and striking power are greater. Therefore, it's not surprising that there are several videos where these animals give blows left and right to various enemies. There are unique photographs where a mule takes on a puma even. The mountain lion is one of the most dangerous and powerful predators of the New World. Especially large individuals can fight on equal terms with black bears and even young jaguars. Practically any hoofed animal fears the mountain lion, but when a hunter attacked the mule, he received a devastating resistance. Moreover, the mule's owner was riding it. The hoofed animal didn't abandon the human in an attempt to flee, but engaged in a fight with the dangerous enemy. The usually calm and phlegmatic herbivorous pet turned into a fierce defender, who struck the puma with hooves and then bit into the enemy. The mountain lion regretted messing with such a dangerous opponent. The predator was simply trampled. The owner of the mule even managed to capture this fierce fight on camera. He stood aside and took a couple of shots. One can envy the owner's coolness here. Apparently, he had reasons to trust his animal so much. In the end, the mule inflicted critical injuries on the puma. It was the last hunt of the predatory cat, which could handle a deer, but was defeated by the hybrid of a donkey and a horse. Are you afraid of snakes? It seems the owner of this donkey is afraid of this venomous reptiles. Well, in that case, the person was lucky to have this hoofed friend nearby. The donkey didn't play around with the dangerous opponent, trying to trample it, confuse it with its antics, or run around it. The herbivorous animal simply grabbed the reptile with its teeth and began to devour it as if it were a long spaghetti. You wouldn't expect that from a vegetarian animal, right? But the donkey couldn't care less about stereotypes. There's clearly a lack of protein in its diet, or at least snake meat. Predators fighting snakes usually use two opposite tactics. They either grab the tail, pull and finish off where the reptile is already wounded, or immediately strike the head to neutralize the main threat of venomous fangs. Notice that the donkey rejected both options and fights the dangerous opponent in its own way. Presumably, the hoofed animal understands the threat of the venom, which could stop the heart even of a larger beast. That's why the donkey bit the snake in the middle of its body, then shook the victim for quite some time, quite vigorously. This way, our hero inflicted additional damage to the snake's spine, also avoiding its counterattack. The snake had no chance to twist and bite the donkey's face or reach its neck with venomous fangs. Even if it didn't move its head, it would have been extremely difficult for her. But since the hoofed animal was shaking it as if it were a rag, the snake's venom had no effect. It couldn't resist otherwise. As a result, the dangerous venomous snake turned out to be completely helpless against an ordinary domestic donkey. The mighty jaws quickly crushed the reptile in its spine and inflicted terrible critical damage to its internal organs. The snake is still writhing, although it definitely won't slither away alive. In agony, it tries to make one last leap, but the donkey perceives it with admirable coolness and continues to simply chew on the opponent, just the way that it would. This is an unequivocal victory. Which case today in which donkeys demonstrated its strength impressed you the most? Let us know in the comment section underneath this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Then you'll see even more unusual episodes from the world of wildlife. Animals can always surprise you.